You find as your startup or scale up is growing, it's really hard to collaborate with other departments. Hi, my name is Alysha Randall and I am a fractional CFO, and I also train new or aspiring CFOs that work for startups or scale ups. And today I really wanted to talk about how you can encourage and enhance that collaboration. What I find, having worked with startups for nearly 20 years, is that at that really early stage when there's maybe, say, 20 people working for the business, it's really easy for all of you to work together. There's only 20 people. You probably feel like friends or family. And often a department is only one or two people. So actually that collaboration is easy because it feels like your team is all of you together, all 20 of you together. So it's very easy to have that open communication, know what everybody is working on, and really work together. But as the startup or scale up grows, this becomes much harder. And in fact, some, with large businesses, they very much have this problem of ensuring that departments work together. So as a finance leader, you are the one that really needs to take on some leadership strategies to make sure that the working across departments remains happening. You're not just working as a silo. So particularly as a finance function, because you are a support function, support function is sometimes arguable because you want to be at the front and center with the rest of the business, but because you're working across all departments, it's really important for the finance leader to make sure that you have a kit of tools that you can use in order to encourage the collaboration. So I've got 5 areas that I wanted to go through today, and I will go through each of them of ways that you can encourage that collaboration, and then things to watch out for to make sure that you don't discourage the collaboration. So the first one probably won't come as a surprise, and that is communication. Communication is such a big part of a leadership role, and in our financial leadership fundamentals program, it is the first topic. We go through the communication upwards, sideways, downwards quite a lot, because you cannot be a good leader without communicating. So making sure that you communicate across the business is really important to encourage that collaboration. So a couple of tips is regular check-ins, making sure you have those one-to-one team meetings, one-to-ones and team meetings to discuss projects, and making sure that they are happening, and address any issues and look at for updates. Make sure that you have an open door policy so people want to feel that they can come and talk to you as a leader when they have ideas or concerns that they want to talk to you about, particularly with projects. And again, transparent communication. So you really want to make sure that you're communicating to everyone promptly, both whether it's goals and missions at the beginning or any feedback. Feedback should also come very promptly, because then people can see that as an example and can address that. A tip to avoid with communication is information hoarding. So keeping information to yourself and only sharing it to a select few, this can really hinder distrust and collaboration. Obviously, in finance, there are some things you do need to hoard, such as payroll information, but this is, within reason. The second area I want to talk about was encouraging that cross-departmental project. So really looking at any projects or innovative solutions, it makes more sense to have a cohesive team that crosses all departments rather than just keeping it within finance. So creating different teams or project teams where you have members from all different departments to work on specific initiatives. Collaborative tools, so looking at things that you can use. If you have project management software that you can use within the business, great. Ideally, unless it's a huge project, you may not want to invest in that, particularly with an early stage startup where you don't have a lot of things available, but there are free ones, or sometimes just a really well-crafted Google Sheet is great. Kanban Flow is free, so those kind of tools are quite useful. And then looking for joint goals. So it's really great if you set common goals for cross-departmental projects to make sure that everyone's working to the same objectives. It's also good to have deadlines or pre-agreed deadlines just to make sure that you're not conflicting with somebody else's workload within a different department. And therefore, you get everybody's buy-in early and people don't forget the project that they're working on and just focusing on their own tasks within their own department. And then try and avoid departmental isolation. So really allowing departments to work in isolation, that can really lead to not only it doesn't encourage that cross communication, but it can lead to a duplication of efforts and then also missed opportunities for collaboration. The third area to look at is leading by example. So again, as a leader, you really do set the tone for your team's department. So, lead by example, demonstrate this collaborative leadership by actively participating in team projects and showing a willingness to work across different departments. So strategies include participating in team activities, so you can join team meetings, join brainstorming sessions, and then show your commitment to those teamwork tasks. Show appreciation, so recognizing and celebrating collaborative efforts and successes within your team and also across departments. If you're a leader within a function, giving a real good shout out to somebody in another department, it will be really well received. And then obviously be approachable. So make sure you're really accessible to everybody that's in the team, not just the people that are within your department. And then mistakes to avoid is micromanagement. So even though you may get involved within team meetings, make sure that you don't oversee every single detail and just hinder your team to have that ability to brainstorm, to be a bit more free thinking. And also, otherwise, team members really feel undervalued if they don't take ownership and responsibility for their tasks. Number 4 is developing collaborative decision-making processes. So you really want to involve your team in decision-making rather than just taking full ownership and telling everybody what to do. So strategies include inclusive meetings, so making sure all team meetings are inclusive and everybody's voice is heard. I know sometimes with accountants, you may have some introverts within the team. This is talking from experience. It's not just a generalization, but sometimes trying to encourage people to get their voice heard. It does take a bit of extra encouragement than say the marketing and sales teams where those teams do often have more extroverts within the team. So really be patient with your team and encourage people to speak up in those meetings and really congratulate people when they do. Consensus, so really strive for consensus in that decision making to make sure all team members are part of that final decision. And then feedback loops, making sure that everyone has the opportunity to input suggestion and decisions within the processes. And then avoid top-down decision making. So again, if you're working with the team, you don't want to just take ownership of all decisions and then tell everybody what the decisions are. You do want that collaborative approach. And then finally, investing in team development. So it's really important to constantly develop and teach or encourage training within your team so that then you can maintain a high performing team or grow into a high performing team. So really provide opportunities for your team to develop those skills and build strong collaborative relationships across the business. So a couple of tips is training programs. So really offer training programs that focus on team building, focus on communication, focus on leadership skills. For example, we offer a Upgrade Your Management Accounts mini program where a finance manager who really wants to take on a more leadership or strategic approach to that monthly process and work across different departments, this mini course shows you how to do that. So instead of just putting together 3 financial statements, it goes through all of the steps to make it more interesting, but also how to work with all the different departments to get that input and be more interesting to be read. I'll leave a link below for that program. Mentorship, so potentially implementing a mentorship program with experienced team members, and then they can guide and support the newer or less experienced colleagues. And then finally, team building activities. So you can, look at regular team building activities. They don't necessarily all have to be going down to the pub to have a drink. That was very much a Gen X thing. So perhaps ask around for suggestions, ask around with your network or with other leaders to suggest anything that worked well. There's loads of different ideas out there. So really have a think about how you can, instead of just doing your work all the time, think about how you can encourage and strengthen those relationships within the team. And then avoid neglecting development. So if you are just so overworked and your team's so overworked and you just keep trying to get through tasks every day and not really spending the time to develop the team, then the team's not going to stick around for very long. You might get 2 years out of them and that's it, and then they'll go elsewhere. So not only are you hindering retention within your team, you're also hindering the culture of the team, but also a high-performing team as well. So neglecting development, it's that short-term pain for long-term gain. It's just detrimental longer term, and you're not developing as a leader if that's how you're managing your team. So really promoting your team collaboration, it requires leadership habits and strategies and real thought process on how you're going to implement that. So really fostering that open communication, encouraging cross-departmental projects, leading by example, developing collaborative decision-making processes, and investing in team development. Then you can really develop the team's culture, the culture of teamwork, and then also innovation. So hopefully that gives you some things to think about and some real strategies that you can implement pretty much immediately, actually, to encourage that cross-departmental collaboration and problem solving and projects. So this is the type of thing that we work with in the Financial Leadership Foundation's program. So if you would like to sign up to one of our workshops, our free workshops, to go through strategies like this, then I will leave a link below where you can sign up to those workshops. We do change the time of those quite regularly, so it doesn't matter if you're in the US, the UK, or Australia, we kind of cover those time zones. We also have free leadership guides that you can download, and I'll link to those below as well. Otherwise, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.